Episode 9, The Stream Show. In today's episode, I am going to share with you the power of live broadcasting on tools like Periscope and Blab. You are listening to episode number 9 of Mike Murphy Unplugged. Learn, create, move forward. I am your host, Mike Murphy, a one-man band and technology junkie who loves to help people figure things out. I am really excited to be here with you today. The goal of Mike Murphy Unplugged is to help you learn what you need to know in order to create online content so you can move forward in business and in life. In today's episode, I'm going to introduce to you what live web or broadcasting is and give you some examples of live webcasting tools I use to promote Mike Murphy Unplugged, and share some ideas of how you can start using live webcasting to grow your brand, product, or service. I'm just dipping my toes in this medium, but I can see a trend that this trend is going to stick around for a while, and one that I really think that you should start familiarizing yourself with. Let's start the show today with a question of the week from Ask Mike Anything. And for those of you just tuning into the show for the first time, Ask Mike Anything is your chance to ask me what you want to know more about, or what you're struggling with it in your online business. Head on over to mikemurphy.co, leave me a question, and you might be featured on a future episode. Today's Ask Mike Anything comes from Dr. Vivian Carrasco from the podcast Turning Inward. Vivian asks, what tripod do you recommend for making videos with my iPhone? Thank you, Vivian. I love GorillaPods by a company called Joby, that's Joby. They're portable tripods. I use these tripods for everything, my iPhone videos, GoPros, and with my DSLR. GorillaPods are these funky plastic little tripods that you can wrap around anything, and they're really versatile. Wrap them around a pole, a chair, or just about anywhere. They work just like a regular tripod, only they're small and portable. I'll include a link in the show notes of the model that I use. They make several different sizes, and the one I use can support a heavier camera like a DSLR. But if you only want to use for your iPhone, there are smaller and lighter versions that work just the same. And to hold your iPhone on the GorillaPod, I use what's called the Grip Tight by the same company, Joby, who makes the GorillaPods. This device holds just about any size smartphone. It works great. It's simple, and what I like about them is that you can also screw them onto a light stand or a micro stand, so you can or a microphone stand, so you can put your iPhone pretty much wherever you want it. Very handy. Hope that helps, Vivian. Now let's start talking about live web streaming. For those of you not familiar with what I mean by live broadcasting or live webcasting or whatever the correct term is today, I'm referring to the ability for one-man bands and anyone really to broadcast live video from their device or computer on the internet in real time. Another that I've used is Google Hangouts, which is still very widespread today, used for a lot of roundtable type discussions. Google makes it pretty much easy for anyone with a Gmail account to host live events with multiple guests, much like a live teleconference. I like Google Hangouts quite a bit, but it's a little clunky and sputtery and not quite as easy and accessible as the tools I'm going to highlight in today's episodes. In my opinions, Google Hangouts is light years better than all the corporate teleconference ones like GoToMeeting and other tools that you'll see in the corporate boardrooms. Google Hangouts is an awesome tool, but the tools I'm talking about today are even just simpler. So enough of the history lesson. Let's get current. Right now, in your pocket, you have the ability to take out your iPhone, open up a free app, press start, and you can start engaging in real time with people from all around the world. Live video, live chat, and way too many emoticons and props, but the technology is new, already good, and who knows what lies ahead. It's pretty amazing that this concept used to require massive amounts of bandwidth and studio equipment, but now it can be done easily on your smartphone or computer or tablet. It's powerful stuff, and like all cool stuff on the internet, the smart brands and the smart people are figuring out really innovative ways to use live broadcasting to engage with their fans and audience and share valuable content. This accessibility has big potential to grow in your brand or service, and is only up to your imagination how to implement it into your business. I've already touched upon Google Hangout, which is a great tool to have multi-person discussions in a webinar style, and it also saves directly to YouTube. Another fairly recent live webcasting tool from the Google giants is YouTube Live. This gives verified YouTube account creators, you have to be in good standing on the YouTube platform, but it gives you the ability to record live and the video stays on YouTube for replay. I think it's safe to say Google sees the value in broadcasting live. I suspect major developments from Google in the future and from other live broadcasting startups. There's other ones out there. Spreecast is one. Meerkat. There's a bunch of ones out there, but the two tools I really want to introduce to you today are Periscope, that's owned by Twitter, and Blab. Blab.im is the address of that. Both these seem to be running rampant in the online marketing entrepreneur space, so that's why I want to touch on them today. The reason they're running rampant is that they work amazingly well. They're free, and the marketing and branding opportunities by using these tools are limitless. Periscope, owned by Twitter, it came out 1 month after a very anticipated launch of the first live streaming app in early 2015 called Meerkat. Meerkat's still around, but it's really struggling to keep up and differentiate itself from Periscope. Meerkat was all about the live experience, and after broadcast, the video just disappeared. Pretty cool. However, Periscope did kind of the same thing, but then you had 24 hours to rewatch, which is a big deal because not everyone is live when your favorite person goes on camera. So the ability to watch a replay within 24 hours is huge. The two are still battling. I'm not even entirely sure where the race stands. I see everything about Periscope and very little about Meerkat. So I'm going to say Meerkat is struggling. Periscope it's an iOS, Android app. I'll include the links in the show note where you can go check it out. It was created to let people pretty much share a view of the world from other people's eyes, a behind-the-scenes view. Just imagine traveling through Europe. You find an amazing winery in Tuscany or wherever. As long as you have Wi-Fi or don't mind paying exorbitant data fees, you can just open up Periscope and just share your experience. Talk to everyone around the world or people who follow you. Very, very cool stuff. Periscope is known for hearts. Viewers tap hearts to show their love. They flutter up the screen. Everyone can see it. It's cheesy, but it's all in good fun. The hearts do add up and boost you up into the most loved list, it's called. Other notable features of Periscope: you don't have to be live to watch a Periscope, but the replays expire in 24 hours from the time of recording. Remember, Meerkat was deleted right after. Because Periscope is owned by Twitter, there's a direct integration between the two. When you start a Periscope, hit the Twitter icon. Automatic tweet is sent to your Twitter feed saying that you're going live on Periscope. You can follow people so you can get notified when they're on Periscope, or you can just browse the Periscope app and see what's happening. Browse live streams. Finally, you can do private scopes, as they call. Periscopes are often called scopes. You can lock it down so you can select people who can attend. So you can have private one-on-one or one-to-many type conversations. What do you need to start a Periscope? All you need is an iOS or an Android device. That's it. Tip: invest in a microphone such as a Rode SmartLav Plus, which I've talked about before in the microphones for audio, and to make sure that you also have good lighting if you're doing a Periscope and you can control the lighting if you're inside or if you're outside. Make sure it's the same as doing a video. So make sure your sound is good and make sure you're well lit, okay? Although Periscope, it's impromptu, it's live webcasting, it's meant to be kind of on the go and raw. But if you're going to use it as a marketing tool, invest in the audio and the lighting as you would with anything else. You'll also get more hearts if you look and sound good. So who are some people that are using Periscope effectively? Photographers are all over it. Scott Kelby and Peter Hurley, two well-known photographers, are using Periscopes for behind-the-scenes photo shoot coverage and for educational purposes. Both are on all the time, and they're really promoting their brand extremely well. Lewis Howes from the School of Greatness podcast, he's using Periscope. he just released his book launch, or he just did a book launch, and he used Periscope to really generate buzz and promote sales. I mean, he used it as a marketing tool to sell books. Finally, Michael Hyatt. He's an extremely successful online marketer he does 1 hour Periscopes at lunch every weekday at noon. It's a Q&A session. His audience loves the ability to interact and ask him anything. He's been very successful on Periscope. People are relying on it because he's, shows up every day at noon. And it's a really cool way to connect with your audience and your fan base. So we have Periscope. Now the next one I want to talk about is Blab. Blab.im. It's similar to Google Hangouts on air in that there's a host, and then you can have up to 3 additional guests with the host. Unlimited attendees who can comment and chat on one side of the panel, and on the other side of the host or the guests is a Twitter feed. So you can do chats amongst each other, ask questions, and then you can send out live tweets on the other side. It's kind of chaotic, but it's pretty cool. The way it works is there's 4 squares in the middle for the host and the guests. The host and the guests can see each other. When any one of the 4 in the panel exits the hot seat, as I kind of refer to it, anyone else in the panel can just jump right in. You just say, I want to join in. And they jump in. You can see them. They can ask a question. Maybe when they're done, they jump out and somebody else jumps in. It's just this back and forth. You can lock the seats. So say you just wanted to have 2 people going back and forth and didn't want others coming in. You can lock the other 2 seats. You can just have one person, lock them all, and just give similar to Periscope. Periscope is one to many. This is really, Blab is more of a group setting. Very, very cool stuff. One thing that's cool is you can pre-schedule a Blab, or you can just start one right on the spot. If right now I decided I want to go live, I just go on and start. Or if I want to do one next week, I schedule it for next week. All the on-air Blabs can be viewed by anyone, and if a topic or a guest looks interesting to you, just jump in, check it out. Blab replays, they're available in your profile. Don't expire, to the best of my knowledge. At the end of a Blab, you have the option to download the audio and the video files to put on your website, and you can publish directly to YouTube. Pretty amazing stuff. There are lots of ways to use Blab, whether it's promoting a product, behind-the-scenes access, Q&A. Some people are using it to do a complete live video podcast. I'm using it to promote this podcast by hosting a weekly Q&A on Blab. If you want to check it out, I'm on Blab every Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. My Blab is titled Open Mic Night. Ask a new podcaster anything. And as I do, I'm making myself available for people who are on the fence or people who have questions about podcasting or technology or anything that I'm doing. I'm there to answer questions, and the conversations have been great. It's not for the faint of heart. I must admit, as a recovering introvert, it's a little bit of a mental overload. You're putting yourself out there, and there is a lot of action going on. There's a lot of people jumping in. You have to tweet. You have to answer questions. There's a lot of stuff going on, but it is really cool. Couple of tips for Blab. The microphone and camera settings can be found in the settings of your browser, and only on Chrome and Firefox. It will not work on Safari. Whatever browser you're using, go into the settings. Make sure you change those, or otherwise you'll be using your computer mic. You don't want to use that. Again, just like Periscope, make sure the lighting is good. Turn off distracting noises in the background like AC. Don't turn on your speakers or else you'll get an echo. You're on video. Your brand is being represented. Just make sure you look good, especially for the host. Make a good impression. These are often other brands coming to check out who's who. So be professional. Finally, be on a few Blabs before you host your own, as it's a little stressful to do. I can tell you that from firsthand. And a really good thing is if you had somebody that you could kind of team up with, that even an online buddy, have somebody help you run the chat while you're talking, because it can get really confusing. So that's it. In summary, live web streaming, it's in its infant stage, but it is here to stay. What I like best about it is that it kind of humanizes small brands and that we can get to know the people behind the products or services we like and then engage in real time. Live web streaming sort of knocks down the walls and makes everyone accountable and accessible. And it's just a great educational and marketing tool. As you can tell, I'm really excited about this technology because it is really opening the doors for a lot of different things. Periscope, it's more of a one-sided conversation with one person visible and all the guests can chat and send hearts. This is more like, I just arrived in Central Park. I have 30 minutes to kill. How y'all doing today? What's going on? What's on your mind? Anyone have any questions for me? I'm hanging out. I'll answer anything you have going on. Very cool. Blab, it's more like a webinar or a group chat. It has many elements of Periscope, but it's way more interactive between people, and it's very panel looking. There's host and there's guests, and then there's people on the side chiming in, jumping back and forth. It gets really buzzing. It's kind of cool. So hopefully this gives you a little glimpse into the world of live webcasting and streaming. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. It's fun to see how people use these new technologies and tools in so many different ways. I see this being a big space for one-man bands and podcasters. Blab and particularly are really going after the podcasters. They are going crazy for this platform. So show off your studio, your artists, teach their process. Photographers explain their techniques. After a podcast, you can have a live Q&A. Endless possibilities. I have links in the show notes. Be sure to subscribe to Mike Murphy Unplugged if you haven't already done so you never miss another episode. If you find value in the podcast, please share it with others on social media or your friends. Leave a ratings and review on iTunes as that helps keep the podcast going. I thank you for joining me today. I hope you join in my one-man band. Together, we can learn, create, and move forward. Cheers.